So, yes, I have read the title of this stream, but because Quirrell is Auditech's boy and he's right there. I figured we'd get some of the more challenge-based trophies, the more miscellaneous ones out of the way while waiting for him. And so we're starting with freezing people with glaciers. It's not the most valuable trophy in the world. There's something on the way to the platinum, so I'll take it. There it is, chilled out. Right, next I need to grab a ghost. And then do basically the same thing, except with, you know, their shriek. So here's Nearly Headless Nick. All right. Because a ghost shriek is an area of effect thing, that does make this a little bit easier, or at least less time consuming. Draco's face just stays as is. Boo! Okay, as far as miscellaneous, like, challenge-based trophies go, crests, gold bricks, students apparel, true wizard, 100%, buying everyone. The only other really challenge-based stuff I can't do until I get Voldemort. Outside of, like, getting kills with Fang and the making Snape into Solid Snake thing, and destroying Devil's Snare and getting kills with a Muggle. hopefully... So, now we just need to move it on. Hopefully, player 2 being Quirrell means I can now grab the doctor and still go for that trophy. Yep, looks like it. I'll grab the doctor. Okay, who has a book? Quirrell, George, Neville, Harry. How is a cat Hermione can dig without having to call Crookshanks? Okay. Ron's girl disguise. We haven't seen Trevor. Look here, Neville can bring on Trevor. And I think because... And I think Neville is... one of the people who's actor for like the last few EA games is retained from the movie. Okay. Okay, and... If you don't mind... Alright. 4! Okay, Alright. There we get Harry on the day he was sorted. So, I have all the crests. That gives me Madame Malkin. She's not available in her store in Diagon Alley. That's weird. Alright. So, Quirrell, the way Quirrell looks, It says he can do dark magic. But you wouldn't think that from his moveset because, well, his purple doesn't switch to doesn't switch to Crucio, and he has no green, which means he has no killing curse. So that's alright, and donk, and bam! Wingardium Leviosa, clonk! Defeating the object! Okay, that is it for... miscellaneous trophy. We can go for like in good time would be the one for getting kills as Muggles and or Fang. I could also go for what's it? I could go for the thing that asks Snape to become Solid Snake. Alright, we already have Quick Quidditch, so we don't have to worry about this. About time here. So, Doctor... Especially as we just got True Wizard, like, immediately. Sorry. If I didn't have the stud multipliers, I would ask you guys where the highest studding areas for would be. I've already got 2 viewers. Alright. Okay. So this has always been one of the most annoying things about the detectives and stuff, is that they don't go away until you do all of something's requirements, as opposed to having one go away every time you do its requirement. Okay. Fang cannot go in there. From Harry. McGonagall can be an animagus and get in there. I think. Bludges. Alright. Right, now. Okay, that should be enough to get me there. Hopefully. Alright. That's that. Okay, that goes... No. Okay. All right. Boosh. That immediately gives us a student in peril. Immobilus! Alright. Doctor. Ugh. Yeah. Right. Now to get down there, I need something small. Again, McGonagall's cat form. Harry's girl disguise. Right. The Doctor. Okay. Slytherin is the only crest piece. Still need. And it's over here. After all these. Auto detect in case you're watching. He does work as a dark wizard, even though it doesn't seem like it. Marcus Flint. I mean, yeah, for as cool as for as cool as the Super Colin Brothers thing on what if Harry didn't have enough ammunition to request not Slytherin, and for as much as I think it might be their best work ever, especially if one were to take the skeleton of Hogwarts Legacy and more or less apply it to the actual saga. It would mean that until he takes up the captain's role himself, he would be playing under Marcus Flint. So, yeah. I'm not entirely sure he'd be the biggest fan of the Slytherin chasers, let alone beaters, playing hella aggressive. Alright, so, the 2 levels down, actually 3, because there's one to get someone with a key. Right. We should probably save all the spending money for like the end of the stream, or at least the end of the movie. Because if years 5 to 7 is any indication, they're going by one six levels per movie rather than 6 levels per book. Oh. Ha! Headless Hunters. Now we get Harry in his PJs. Bloody cat. Oh. So this goes in here. Accio. Okay. That's the crest completed. Now I just need the student in peril and any and all outstanding character tokens. There. Right. One more one more token we can get from that key. It sounds like there's a student in peril here. Right. Let's go in there. Okay. We have Griphook's key, so we can open this. And now I have all the doctors. Oh, that's where the student in peril was. Could have gone for it in bloody story mode. Well, that's... Alright, well, up here. Trevor! There's the doctor. Neville in his pajamas. Imagine what the doctor would see in the Mirror of Erised. Okay. One more true wizard until we land ourselves another trophy. So gold bricks. Bam, house crest. Bam, true wizard. Bam, student in peril. Exit level. Right, now I think I want to duck out and grab and buy some characters. So, I mean, this will give us our last doctor. Not Slytherin. Not Slytherin. Famous fire eaters. Nicholas Flamel, where are you? Hey! Pea-brain! This old body of mine is swearing a bit thin. Well then, here we go. The long way round. Hey, there we go. We've finished off the whole Quidditch team. Everyone, nope, Marcus Flint. So apparently it doesn't care about Slytherin Quidditch players, just Gryffindor Quidditch players. House bias much? And this is coming from a Ravenclaw. Right. I think that's everyone we have unlocked so far. So... I think we might be yeah. We might actually be able to where's some buckles? Here's Uncle Vernon. Just to show you if he has his shotgun or not. Right. So yeah, all muggles only have... If you don't have a wand, This little roll thing is your only attack. But this only applies to actual minifigs. Hello, Fang! Yeah, this only applies to actual minifigs, because if you switch over to Fang over here, he can just shout at things. Alright, so with the rate at which we're going, I feel no shame hammering out trophies. There we go, Muggle Trouble. This is about as cheap, about as if not more cheap than just hanging around the stud fountain last time, like at the end of Lego Star Wars. Kind of, but especially, and I would argue this is probably worse considering there are other opportunities to hammer out these, but you know, because I'm on stream, I might as well go for convenience to save on time. If I had character studs back then, this probably would have been a pretty stonkingly effective method of grinding studs. But, good dog, Fang! Who's a good boy? Give me a Gryffindor boy. Neville. Give me Harry from the lake. From the lake. All right. I need to keep blasting Devil's Snare for another trophy. So in free roam, the primary source of those is definitely out and around the greenhouses. Alright. Bam. 10? Ugh, God. Still, probably the worst offender of that is probably the second task in Goblet of Fire, because well, put it this way, because you're on a 2D plane and your Z movement becomes your Y movement, as far as the axes go. Oh, that does make it a lot harder to determine which ones you're missing. All right. I'm hearing howls, but there's no way in hell that those howls can be Mooney, because he's not here yet. I wonder how many others refer to the Marauders' animal forms as by their Marauders' handles. I mean, it's where they came from. I would imagine that well, the levels in the Forbidden Forest and the final trials of to get to the stone are like the most consistent places to find Devil's Snare. If you're going for that trophy. Which makes it a good thing that we will require at least one more run of doing that, because, well, we won't get Voldemort until very late. So, you already have the student in peril. We already have Gryffindor and we have not Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff. It'd be nice to have Ravenclaw though. Well, there's Hagrid. Wait, do I even have... Must have fast dig. It's not on for some reason. Okay. Bam. Yeah, Draco on the day he was sorted. Ravenclaw. Okay. So. You are doing well. Okay. We just need the Slytherin. Now we managed to slither into another gold brick. It says a lot that I could barely fit the story mode for one movie in a single 2.5 hour stream. You know, just hammered out. Bam! And I've just hammered out almost hammered out the entirety of free play for Philosopher's Stone in half that. I don't think we have any Voldemort variants yet, so going for this trophy is pretty meaningless. We don't have Quirrellmort, we don't have Tom Riddle, we don't have Voldy proper. What we do have is a few more crests to grab. Ergo, we will get at least one trophy from this level. Replay, grab the doctor. Two, actually, because that was the last true wizard I think we needed. Good boy, Fluffy! Go on, grab it, Fluffy. Good boy. Good boy, Fluffy. Good boy, Fluffy. Right, oh, here we go. I don't know where to find the stat as to how many devil snares you've already cleared. Because right now I just know that it's more than like 10 or 20. And less than 50. Okay. Harry Slither in disguise. Sort of appropriate given that it would come pretty late. Because, well, you need Reducto to access it. I, for one, would have thought that the Doctor would have been excellent on a broom. Ah! There we go, Slytherin. But if Quirrell is as confident on Broom as Hermione is, how did he make it this far? Well, not just this far, but into the but in front of the mirror of Erised at that. Maybe Quirrell Mort isn't... Yeah, I guarantee you that Voldy-Quirrell isn't as timid. Speak of the devil! Oh, it gave me a new knight. Right. Pawn takes pawn. Bam. Pawn takes pawn. Boosh! Right. Ron in a cardigan. Raven... Hufflepuff. Ravenclaw's up here. Okay. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Right. Knight. Boosh. Right. Knight. Knight takes knight. That's make the king less protected. Right. Pawn takes pawn. Yes, and that's pawn takes pawn. Rook takes pawn. Yeah, queen takes rook. Bishop takes queen. Boosh! Right. Wingardium Leviosa. Alright, queen takes bishop. Checkmate. Alright, Voldy-Quirrell. How all of the, like, how even the EA games run with the idea of Quirrell's head flipping round all the way to reveal Voldy-Quirrell. Bam! Ah. Right. Bam. Thank you. There we go. Harry Slither in disguise. Moldy Quirrell, Ron and the Cardigan. There we go, Crest Collection. And boosh! That is a gold brick. And a trophy, Crest Collector. We're getting all crests from Philosopher's Stone. Stud Magnet, that would be all the true wizards. Hey Red, hey Autotech, you're finally here. So while you were gone, so I did try to put it off for as long as possible, but because we just wrapped up Philosopher's Stone, which, given the title of this stream, is a bit of a surprise to me. We actually got the trophy for, I just finished translating my prequel book into English. All 37 chapters. Wow. Must have as many chapters as there are trophies in years 1 to 4. But speaking of which, because you just missed the final boss fight with a Philosopher's Stone with Voldy Quirrell, I should say that we still sound like ourselves. You need to sound more like crap. Bloody hell. Excellent. Alright, because we just did the final boss fight with Voldy Quirrell. Sorry about that. Well, I hadn't seen you since you was a baby, Harry, but you're a lot larger than I expected, particularly round the middle. You'll soon find out that some wizarding families are better than others, Potter. You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort. I can help you there. We got the trophy for having Quirrell fight the troll in the troll in the dungeon. There we go, Voldy Quirrell. Right, and that is, I think, everyone. I'm a little more sympathetic toward the GBA version of LEGO Star Wars, having only one playable version, if not one version at all, of each character, with how this... with how this game only gives us 10 versions of each character. What, you didn't quote Quirrell? Yeah. Come on, he has some great lines like the... That's it, Harry. There is no good and evil. There is only power. And those too weak to seek it. Well, to be fair, we only have so many trophies left. We just have to get everything for 100%, which includes crests, students in peril, and, well, buying everyone. We also need to do the... we also need to destroy a bunch more Devil Snare plants, turn Snape into Solid Snake, and once we get Voldemort, defeat Quirrell in the Quirrell boss fight. And I know from PS3 that actually fighting Voldicril will suffice because somehow he can hurt him just like Harry can, and to go into the graveyard and be Voldemort, kill Harry there. I assume that last trophy is why this platinum is so rare. Anyway, let's grab the doctor. I guess he can hurt him because he's got Harry's blood, and for some reason that gives him Lily's love. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's something that comes into play. Quirrell and the Doctor, the perfect duo, underrated Death Eaters. Yeah, especially because, well, to be fair, as Dark Wizards go, Quirrell is only tied with like Snape for being less practical, because neither of them have like Crucio assigned to their purple, which, okay, fair enough. They're both teachers, so for as much as they have access to dark magic, they should know better than to just throw about the Cruciatus Curse all willy-nilly like Voldemort does the Killing Curse. But speaking of which, that's something neither of them come with as well. Which is strange, because it means that you have little to no indication that they are actually Dark Wizards, as those two signs are your main indicators. Incredible that Quirrell has two versions. Wait, is Bogart Snape a character? I know he wears a minifig. Oh, Ron in a sweater has scabbers, even though... Deploy Crookshanks. Dig this up. I got George in school uniform. Wait, that same pumpkin car was in Lego Batman 2. I feel like I have memories of mucking about with it in Free Roam Gotham. And if all else failed, I was planning on using it to... I always wondered what the point of it was. What's next, Yoda's tractor? Well, to be fair, there's a tractor right there. Can't say for sure if it's the same tractor, but it is here. I'd probably be even less sure if I had vivid enough... I was joking! Holy crap, that looks almost exactly like Yoda's tractor. To be fair, if I had vivid enough memories of the EA game to tell you about how the opening hours of that went, because, well... it was also in... there's... most versions of Chamber of Secrets also start in... at the Burrow. But what I can say for sure is that now there are 3 people watching, because the thing has told me the notifications where your notifications from chat come from. For real, I think killing Quirrell and Crouch so early was a mistake. Yes, I know Crouch technically didn't die. Harry could have had 2 Death Eaters he has personal history with later. I know, and more personal connection with antagonists is certainly warranted. I mean, it's one of the main reasons why people think of Assassin's Creed Black Flag as a straight up, as just the pirate entry in the series, as opposed to the masterpiece that it is. I mean, yeah, it's not far from perfect, especially for an Assassin's Creed. Especially in comparison to the objective masterpiece that was the Ezio trilogy. Because, I mean, but even then, Revelations were... The fact that Revelations... Also, Quirrell used to be a Muggle studies teacher, so why did he join the guy who wanted to eradicate them? Is he like Zamasu when studying them, came to believe they were too dangerous? Maybe, but... What? But, do we know if he was... Oh, gee. Do we know if he actually wanted Voldemort in the back of his head? Because we know that... Because I think I've heard through the grapevines that to redeem herself being tricked by the diary, Ginny sews these 2 nice men around her house. Yeah, one of them was a previous teacher, and one of them was a Time Lord. At least that's how she'd know them. If you think about it, both of them were previous teachers. Yeah, they were. But to be fair, the Doctor was still disguised as Moody. So... Alright. You got one person, like, ducking in and out of like, everything, like... Dumbledore, can you pick a single defense against a dark arts professor who doesn't endanger students? Even the best one, Moody tried to maul them. Yeah, I suppose that's one of the major shames about, like, Lupin not getting the Wolfsbane potion in time, because I mean, he possibly could have had Mooney under control. I mean, to be fair, the prospect of, like, actually being able to be in somewhat control of your werewolf form, stories like that are how I found Mark, because the project he was doing when when I first encountered him. Well, the project I met him through was a spin-off of someone else's story that was already kind of all in on that premise. We end this level on my house, Crest. Imagine if that was a boggart. And that, but to be fair, because we only learn about boggarts in next year, we wouldn't necessarily be prepared for it. Anyway, George in uniform, Arthur. That might be the last of the wonderful Weasleys to buy for a trophy. Unless they throw in someone, unless they throw in like Bill and Charlie. Because I mean, years 5 through 7 features Bill. Okay, fair enough. But it also, but Charlie is only ever mentioned, never seen. I know that that's something that that's something that doesn't happen in the books. Because, oh my gosh, how many Weasleys are in this game? If every character takes up 30 slots. Tell you what, if Arthur is the last one, I think we should go find out. Alright. There may be 30 slots, or very close to that, for all the Weasleys, given Ron alone has like 10 different variants. Alright, now from memory, years 5 to 7 is a lot more beneficial to Arthur because, well, it gives him a wrench, and he was the last of the wonderful Weasleys. Because that's a trophy. Actually, all the Weasleys were in the movie, because we see a picture of them on vacation in Egypt. Yeah, we do, but wait, Ron and Harry in girl disguise? Did I miss something? You must have, because it was the only way that they could enter the restroom to fight the troll. At least in story mode. Anyway, so this stream has been strangely fruitful for trophies, and yet also not so, because TT Games must have put into troll rowling. I mean, the level's all about a troll. That can't be a coincidence. I mean, to be fair, do we even know about those views of hers at the time? Because this would have been like around about the time the first Deathly Hallows movie was being launched. I mean, the timeline of events, at least in my head, this is... well, the Lego game before this was Lego Indy 2, and that was... And... yeah, it adapts Crystal Skull, but... the Lego Indy 1 was launched into a more appropriate launch window to like hype it up. Rowling has actually just celebrated her turf anniversary. I wish I was joking. Apparently her first tweet on the subject was made in 2019 and on my mum's birthday of all days. Well, imagine if she was... Imagine if... Imagine if she was, like... Quill must be really tempted to curse Harry's poop right now. To be fair... to be fair, Harry already has enough on his plate already because of the bludger. We do get Draco in Quidditch uniform, to be fair. Imagine if you could use the character customizer to make a Harry variant that's of the what if of him being Slytherin. I might actually have that Quidditch Draco minifig IRL. Sweet. This goes up here. Hey, isn't there already a Slytherin disguise Harry minifig in the game? Yeah, there is, but it's... But as you said, it's more about the idea of like, him being in disguise as, like... It's more about him being... about portraying him as not Goyle, rather than portraying him as a Slytherin. Wait, I remember this scene. Are we about to hear the Sam Wessel Pursuit music? If this was, like, using the exact themes from the movies, then I guess so. And I suppose, to be fair, that was kind of a consequence of John Williams working on Attack of the Clones and this at around about the same time. So much so that someone else had to conduct the orchestra for this. And I think also funny how the second Harry Potter movie and the second Star Wars prequel came out in 2002. Yeah, and more than that, I get why you call it the second Star Wars movie, because, well, it would itself be... I haven't played this game, but Dobby seems like an annoying boss. Almost like this game's version of the Imperial Spy from Mos Eisley. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Because, I mean, here you have to actually work your way to Dobby every time you want to hit him. And in this room you have to actually open him up before you can hit him. Okay, clearly we need someone with Slytherin access. Alright, now. Yeah, Dumbledore can access all houses. He'll do. There we go. I'm the Doctor. Wait, do you have a super strength ability? Dobby beating himself up. Do you have super strength? I know that it's a red brick in years 5 to 7. But even barring that, Hagrid and Fang and Crumb all count as super strong, so I am covered. It says a lot that this is the only time in-game that we can actually wander around the hospital wing. I mean, yeah, I understand that. I don't know either. I was going to ask you if activating the extra, if it exists, and doing a super strength thing as Rita Skeeter in reference to the strong reporter OC my friend has. Yeah, well, looks like Rita Skeeter's only thing is Animagus, and she becomes a bug. Literally, that's all it's called. Okay, so that bug doesn't even look like Lego. I mean, you'd think that if it was, that it'd be in a set of, like, some pretty creepy place, like, I'm trying to think of something. Well, in particular to here, I'm thinking, I don't know, the Chamber of Secrets, certainly. Where else could it be applied? Like a sewer or something? Okay, Madame Pomfrey. Fang. Bam! Okay. I only have 2 consistent viewers. I know it's hard for me, especially, to find something interesting out of something I've done over and over again. Like, I've gotten the platinum on PS3. I've gotten the equivalent on Xbox One. Get Dumbledore in the wheelchair. He's like 80. I know I know he would seem like he's at an age that where a wheelchair would be appropriate, but I'd imagine that time flows differently in the wizarding world compared to outside of it. Which is strange to me because when I first started getting ideas of like how the series could work as an RPG, I had considered the idea of perhaps incorporating the calendar system from Persona. Which is strange because I think Amos Diggory is really decrepit and in a wheelchair in Cursed Child. He didn't even seem all that old in Goblet of Fire, especially not compared to really old characters like Dumbledore. Right. I might just be able to fit Chamber of Secrets into the rest of this stream. I realized something funny. Quirrell is a Defense Against Dark Arts professor. He has become the very thing he swore to destroy. Again, you have to wonder if it was even willingly that he... Harry Potter has some great character development. Only problem is that all of it's off screen and implied. I feel like there would be someone out there who'd say that of like all classical heroes' journeys, including the oldest ones, dating as far back to not just Lord of the Rings, but also like Arthurian legends. That because it relies on tried and true tropes and archetypes, there's not much room for character development anyway. But where's our Crash and Quirrell buddy cop comedy? To be fair, what makes the prospect of that even funnier to me is that because they didn't have someone fully committed to being Voldemort yet, they had the actor behind Quirrell step in as Voldemort. Just so they had all their bases covered. Not necessarily, of course, because, well, they would still need a full and formal Voldemort. Because, well, if Voldemort and Goblet of Fire still had the face of Quirrell. It'd be really telling how much of an influence. I love the episode where Crouch helps Quirrell muster up the courage to ask Bellatrix, but then she said she's already married. So they just stayed friends with benefits. To be fair, it's not like she and her husband really care that much for each other. I wouldn't be surprised if... Wait, what houses were the Crouches in? That's a good question. Because we can assume that... Because we can assume that... Well, being British wizards, they would have trained at Hogwarts. So that would be a good question to pose. Because I think logically a lot of people would assume that the Doctor especially would be a Slytherin. Because, well, of his association with the dark arts. But I think I think Crouch Senior is ambitious enough for it to still be pretty warranted. As even if you ignore... Is my girl Andromeda in 5 to 7? I was disappointed that she wasn't in the movie, but if the sequel's anything like the first game, they probably love to stretch out the character roster. Yeah, so by that logic, she should be in there, if for no other reason than to pad out the roster, as you say. But then again, I think it was the first LEGO game to come with, like, oh, and Quirrell's theme music is playing. How fitting. To be fair, I think it's just the theme that John Williams associates with the mystery at the heart of, like, the story. Yeah, it only feels like a mystery because, well, Dumbledore wants Harry to figure it all out on his own. But, that, now I can get into the dorms. Alright, Crab, Goyle, and Ron in his Slytherin disguise. See, the way they treat the Slytherin disguises is why I don't feel like they really count at showing a Slytherin Harry. Because, I mean, we'll put it this way. If Harry had ended up in Slytherin, they probably wouldn't have needed the Polyjuice Potion. Partly because, like... it would make his air of Slytherinness feel even worse. But mostly because they wouldn't need to he wouldn't look out of place in Slytherin robes anyway. $750,000. How is crab so expensive? Is it for the same reason that crab couldn't be in the last movie or so? I would imagine. Why don't I grab... I'm an idiot. I was just like... Anyways, Doctor... Why does it give us riddle already? We aren't even in the diary yet. Do you think it's weird that levels are the only places we get to use Moaning Myrtle's restroom in? You think Riddle and the Voldemort in the back of Quirrell's head are gonna be like, "Hey, hi, how are you?" I admit that, like, the only one Voldemort could ever feel like any sense of pity for would be himself. Oh, she. But, how do we know he... How do we know he wouldn't... Imagine if Tom Riddle won in Chamber of Secrets, and now Voldemort has to compete with a second, handsomer version of himself coming back to power. Exactly. That's my point. Is that, yeah, the only one Voldemort could ever feel pity for would be himself, but But if they were ever but I think it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for Tom Riddle to try and make a Horcrux out of Voldemort Prime. I mean, it sounds like the sort of thing he would do if the two would ever meet. Especially considering that if you lose the boss fight with the Basilisk in EA's Chamber of Secrets. Wait, this was a level, the flashback in the diary? When why wasn't Professor Dippet in the game? He was in that scene, as they needed a spot for the milkman. To be fair, if Professor Dippet was in that scene, he would have probably been one of... I think he was one of the... I think he was one of the people escorting... Moaning Myrtle's lifeless corpse away. Ooh, nice. Right. There's the student in peril. Anyway, speaking of the EA games, it says a lot that the only one I was able to get the Platinum Trophy for was Half-Blood Prince, because, well, PS1 and 2 games obviously didn't have trophies. Order of the Phoenix also predates trophies, and unlike something like Need for Speed Undercover, wasn't updated to put them in. I think Half-Blood Prince was my least favorite Harry Potter. I remember barely anything in that one, aside from, well, the major character death. Yeah, it does say a lot that, what creative trophy was that? Rip Aragog. Heartbreak. Yeah, especially since Aragog is a boss fight. Invited me over for dinner just before his passing, and I never got to take him up on the offer. Yeah, but what dinner would Aragog have offered? That's the question. Okay. Now, if the game would let me be clever, I would have... Well... That's weird. I suppose it proves that even in worlds of, well, even in worlds of might and like by magic, there is still the occasional surprise. Because I knew that one was enough to support it, at least insofar as, like, getting there is concerned. Grip hook. Vocalist. I'm pretty sure we got grip hook via late game spells, so well, I don't get why we get the vocalist here. I do get that it's late game enough where we would already be exposed to Goblet of Fire stuff. Did you know Rowling actually made herself canon to Harry Potter? Well, it would have been interesting if, again, if that's, if that Doctor Who story I talked about would have come to pass. Because, I mean, the in-universe Rowling is apparently Dumbledore's best friend and knows more about Quidditch than wizards do. She also took her favorite website, Twitter, into the universe with her. To be fair, I think even Stephen Fry, who narrated the audiobooks in the PAL regions, it is about as much of a prodigious tweeter, or at least was for the time. Boing, boing. Professor Vector. Well, you're getting close to the level of obscurity that that Andromeda Tonks would be for. Alright, still. Went from 40 gold bricks remaining to 23. That's a pretty solid haul. And we're still far enough in that it would actually be fair to just keep right on trucking through the end of the movie. But maybe I should add another half hour onto it, knowing that not only will I have to go through Prisoner of Azkaban, A Goblet of Fire, but I'll also have to do so. But I'll also have to do the Million Stud bonus. I'll also have to grab Voldemort and use him to do all the remaining trophies. We're definitely on the home stretch, but we're far from out of the woods. Figure of speech intended, given that, well, we're in the Forbidden Forest. All right. Is whoever the third viewer is having technical difficulties? Is that why they're just continually dropping in and out? Are they doing it to be an irritant? No offense if... Just... Yeah, that viewer's probably not coming back. Never mind. Then again, I do know some people who prefer to have... who prefer this to be something to listen to rather than... Wait, would Marcus Flint... Yeah, I thought so. Oh, for... Oh. Alright. Oh, come on, come on. There we go. They drop and reveal the Ravenclaw crest. Ah! Right. Oh, what a cute froggo! Okay. Bam! Professor Sinistra. Okay. Cornish pixies. You know what this game should have had? Definitely the helmet dispenser. Completely forgot Aragog's mate had a name. Mosag, apparently. Huh. Damn. Oh, here we get Lucius Malfoy. What the? So, boosh! Kaboosh! Well, thank you. We'll just go. Go? I think not. My sons and daughters do not harm Hagrid on my command. But I cannot deny them. Flesh that so wandered so willingly into ours. Goodbye, friend of Hagrid. Okay. Okay, with Crawl on the motorbike, this is really starting to look like a buddy cop film. God! Bollocks. To be fair... Ah! Damn! To be fair... I mean... TARDIS's... the TARDIS is a police box, so... so it's not like the Doctor is unfamiliar with police imagery. Alright. So. Do you think I should go a little bit further than the usual 2.5 hours, knowing that like the next stream will probably be the last one? Because to finish up Lego Star Wars, it took another... It took another hour following... Ooh. I got another Doctor. And Lockhart's here too. Always the best and most trustworthy defense against the dark arts teachers working together. Imagine if Ollivander was here too. We'd also have every Doctor who's been in the Wizarding world here as well. Warrior. I suppose there isn't any need for a Doctor anymore. Make me a warrior now. Charlie, Kara's Lucy, Thames, and Molly. Friends, companions I've known, I salute you. And Cass, I apologize. And I think Moaning Myrtle would go on to... Oh! Ah. Parcel tongue. Harry. Well, at least we've seen what happens to those who interact with a parcel tongue thing without actually being a parcel mouth. Alright, Doctor. Wait, can Quirrell speak parcel tongue? He's also a Horcrux in that he has a piece of Voldemort's soul inside him. If it did, it'd say... Because, I mean, look at Harry. It says parcel tongue there. Please try it out when you get the chance. Old Man Salazar probably had a bunch of those gates flying around. You would think, because, well, he intended for only his own true heir to be able to access it. Wait, the giant squid? Is that the only time we see it? I'm fairly confident that it appears at the Black Lake. Is it the Black? Not in a major role, but it's still there. Heck yeah, we got Wizard Green. I ship Wizard Green and Wizard Red. Right. One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no tears. There's no regrets, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. Fun fact, this game is one of the few times we see Quirrell's wand. It's not in the movie or in the book. And by that logic, I'm pretty sure the EA game would count too. Because in most cases, in the EA games, when you fight Voldiquirrell, you have to reflect the, you have to reflect the Mirror of Erised, to use the Mirror of Erised to reflect his spells back to him. It's annoying, it makes little to no sense with... Well, it doesn't add up insofar as, like... I'm so glad they kept the Basilisk's laser beam eyes. It's my favorite part of the movie. Right, Also, weird how the giant Salazar head still looks like a human instead of a big Lego piece. Which is interesting because that's something they quote-unquote correct for, still no... For, the Dark Mark in years 5 to 7. Okay. Forks looking at Lockhart, Quirrell, and the Doctor. Do I even want to help you guys? I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I come from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castorpus. I am the bringer of darkness, the oncoming storm. And you are basically just a Phoenix, aren't you? Okay, carry on. Just a general warning. Alright, only a true Gryffindor can pull the sword out of the hat, so we're fricked. Oh, watch this. There we go. Bam! There's Lockhart, Wizard Green, and Riddle. Huh. The Doctor was a true Gryffindor all along. Crest Fanatic! That's all the crests for Chamber of Secrets. Alright. Now. Because we're in the home stretch, I probably should spare at least another half hour to hammer out a couple bits of Prisoner of Azkaban. But just in case that's not really warranted, I'm gonna just do everything here. So those structures we can build once we get all the gold bricks in the levels of particular movies. And now I'm gonna just make some purchases. Tut tut. Hardly any of you remember that my favorite color is lilac. It says a lot that that scene was dropped. I mean, I kind of get why, because, well, you can just as easily show his incompetence by, in a show don't tell way at that, by showing him being unable to control the Cornish pixies, but anyways, do you think we have enough? Do you think we should go for another half hour? Go for another. Because use some, because we just need the character tokens and the let's put the band members in the roster. Well, at least the band made, are they wizards or, well, I can imagine, because I mean you probably wouldn't see how exaggerated their instruments were with as much of you as you saw of them in the movie, but there was a deleted scene that made up for that, like showed them playing the whole gig. Right, what about Voldyquirl? Is he a Parselmouth? Yes, he is. There we go, Parseltongue. But, anyways, as far as stuff we've yet to do, we still need 6 students in peril, 26 character tokens, and 11 gold bricks. 11 crests. They'll become gold bricks, and that'll cover everything else. So, character tokens, 26 is as many as I have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And the last two are part of the million stud bonus. I'm pretty confident. So yeah, I think we are on track to finish this game by the next stream. Question is, should we make progress to that right now? Because if each of these levels is 15 minutes or thereabouts, then we'd only really need to go only so far above like the usual 2.5 hours, if that, to actually get the platinum. You know what, I think I've just talked myself out of it. So I think that'll be it. Thank you all for coming. Next stream, we'll be going for the platinum trophy once and for all. See you guys then.